Oh boy. This is absolutely not the name I thought we would be talking about when it comes to the Montreal Canadiens. What? Is it 2020 again all of a sudden? Are we going to start discussing this guy joining Montreal like we may or may not actually have? I don't remember actually making any videos about this back in the day, but today, what I wanted to do was dive into a discussion prompted by one of the best NHL defensemen of the 2010s. Today, we're talking about Zdeno Chara. And upon video review, it turns out we actually did make a video going over how Chara almost was a Canadian. Kind of crazy. That video got 5.8 thousand views. Nice. But Z, the big Z out of Ottawa, out of Boston, out of Washington, and New York, is a pretty unique defenseman. I was going to say a generational defender, but I honestly don't know if that's accurate to describe him. Like, he was huge, biggest player to have ever suited up in an NHL game, but he also happened to be very good and a strong captain. Amazing leader and a nice dude as well. Zdeno Chara is a Hockey Hall of Famer, he is a Stanley Cup champion, and he's a Norris Trophy winner. There's lots to like out of Chara, on and off the ice, especially when you get handcuffs involved near his bedside. And today we are diving into what the 48-year-old marathon runner went out there and said about a certain Montreal Canadiens D-man. Take a look at this post made by It's Pro Gamer 666 on the Our Habs subreddit. Zdeno Chara spoke about his former teammate and D partner, Noah Dobson. Noah is a super talented defenseman, he is such a skilled player and he skates well, he sees the ice really well. I think what I tell younger players, you've got to always stay humble and to be a student. I feel like they want to make the next step, they want to get to that next level, and it's a little bit at times rushed. So that, of course, some pretty nice commentary from one big Z going out there and speaking on Noah Dobson, a guy whom folks in the comment section of this post are like, wait a minute, what? They played together? Chara started with the Islanders and he got traded to the Ottawa Senators in the Yashin deal. Isn't that like 2005? And then he went to Boston and he didn't play the rest of his career in Boston? And Dobson only played in New York? And it's like, yeah, no, Chara played for the Capitals and the Islanders in the last 2 years of his career. Wow, top two memories that most NHL fans just kind of, forgot about. But this is obviously pretty cool, because Zdeno Chara, I think he's a guy that a lot of Montreal Canadiens fans, I don't want to say, like, they actively decided to hate him, or even passively, really. Yes, he was the captain of the big bad Bruins, which automatically put him in a bad spot for Canadiens fanfare, but honestly, I think the majority of Canadiens fans kind of just knew what he was about, and they respected his game, and they were like, yeah, darn it, he's on the opposing team that we hate, but he's really damn good, so, you know, don't hate the player, hate the game. You can't really say that anybody hated Zdeno Chara. Very well spoken, just a great leader, and one of the most accomplished players of the past 20 years. So, even seeing things nowadays, that he's going out there and talking about Montreal Canadiens guys, talking about Noah Dobson, whom he had the luxury of sharing a pairing with in his last year in the National Hockey League, and offering his insight, that's pretty awesome. And I guess it does reopen the Zdeno Chara Montreal connection, because there was discussion back in the day, back in 2020 when Chara left Boston to go to Washington, that he could sign with Montreal, and that's exactly what we made a video about 5 years ago. That he almost apparently did. There was a decent opportunity for the Canadiens to get Z onto their blue line. That was the 2020-2021 season. Could you imagine if Zdeno freaking Chara was on the Habs blue line with Weber, Sherratt, Edmondson, Petrie? I mean, that was already a big, hulking brick wall of a decor, and then you add Chara, And the best part is, the guy played 20 minutes a night in the last season he had as an NHL player for the Islanders. There is very realistically a world where Zdeno Chara was a legit top 4 option for the Boston Bruins in 2021 going to the Stanley Cup final. I'm not saying that Z would have helped the team beat Tampa Bay, a total powerhouse of a Tampa Bay team, by the way, but Chara and Weber together? If you replaced these guys like you swapped sides, you had Zdeno on the right and Weber on the left, you could have one-time bombs set up for days because both of these guys have recorded the 2 hardest slap shots in NHL history. That's insane. And then you had Sherratt on the second pair with Petrie, totally tearing things up, and Edmondson would be with, I don't know, Victor Mete or whomever else you wanted to say could have been in a bottom pairing role there. But obviously, it's kind of fun to think about now, like, oh, what could have been? Montreal was close to signing up Chara, right? So if they went to the finals with that guy, I wonder how easier or quicker the run to the finals would have been. Especially if everything else goes down the same way it goes down. Like, could you imagine Mark Scheifele trying to do that crap on Jake Evans and then having Zdeno Chara on the ice trying to stand up for the guy? That would have been insane, man. But anyways, Z using his last few years in the NHL to get some knowledge on the younger dudes. Noah Dobson, of course, is a very talented name. And I also will say, back when Chara was playing with Dobson, Dobson was still on pace to becoming the player that he is now. Like, Noah Dobson's 25 years old, so obviously he is kind of in the prime of his career. He was a number 1 defenseman in New York for a very long time, but you gotta remember, Zdeno Chara's perspective on Dobson was formed before Dobson had that crazy 70-plus point year. Chara's last season with the Isles was 21-22. Dobson's crazy production year was 23-24, so it came a few years after that. Dobson truly flourished in a way that Big Z is indeed proud of. Super talented defenseman, skilled player, skates well. Sometimes that's all you need out of a defenseman that you're coveting, right? So with all that in mind, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about big bad Boston Bruins captain Zdeno Chara speaking out about Noah Dobson and what Dobson has become at the National Hockey League level? Thoughts on the revisionist history as well, because of course it's always going to be interesting thinking about what could have been had Chara decided to go to Montreal instead of Washington that one year. How would he have affected the Canadiens' cup run? That's also what I'm thinking about as well. Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.